Welcome back to Rabbit Hole Roundtable Talks with
Wanted.
and MK. So, if you guys drop some likes, I owe you some push-ups, but it's gonna have to wait till next week because this week everything is already locked in. But thank you guys for tuning in again. Welcome to a nice hump day. And speaking of humping, this article says that vegans are 69% more likely to pursue open relationships, new data suggests.
A play on numbers too.
Yeah, I see that. I see that. I see that. I see that. I didn't catch it until you said it, but I see that. See that? You see, guys, look how wholesome I am. I didn't even notice the 69% joke because I'm so wholesome. I don't even have sex. I'm a virgin.
Oh my
And
gosh.
yeah, so anyway, popular vegan and vegetarian dating app Vegly has released data suggesting that vegans are far more interested in open relationships than those who eat meat, which is ironic. According to Vegly, almost 75% of its users are interested in long term monogamous relationships, while over half, 56%, are interested in one off dates. Further, 57.2% are interested in making new friends, and 33.8% are interested in open relationships. 33.8% is quite a lot. That's like a little bit over a third.
Yeah.
Vegans and open relationships. The data also suggests that vegans and vegetarians are 69% more likely to pursue an open relationship than meat eaters. In recent years, non traditional relationships, such as open relationships, appear to be growing in popularity across the world, especially in Google searches. While the exact definition of an open relationship depends on the individuals involved, the term can include everything from polyamory to non monogamous arrangements. So, data is fascinating. Commenting on the new findings, behavioral psychologist Joe Hemming said, what voice should I use?
None.
Ah, fine. This research from Bregley that vegans and vegetarians are 69% more likely to pursue an open relationship than meat eaters is fascinating, and it makes sense from my point of view as a psychologist. Vegans in particular have already taken an ethical decision not to eat meat. And so they have to get it from other humans. Just kidding, that's not what he said.
Like
And
that.
this has become one of their core values when meeting a match. Due to their self assured and less traditional eating choice, they're more likely to have the strong confidence needed to consider relationships that are also different from the norm. Hemmings believes the norm breaking confidence expressed by vegans and vegetarians can also be carried into other areas of their life. This may result in a stronger likelihood to experiment in the bedroom. For example, founder of Vegli, Alex Filippelli shared, this data is great to see because it shows how our platform is being used for all sorts of purposes, helping herbivores across the world connect in new ways. Wink, wink. He didn't say wink, wink. All right. So, veggie dating apps see incredible growth. Stock potential? Vegly, which has exceeded 600,000 global users, predicts its rapid growth will continue as the vegan movement grows. There are now a range of dating services centered on matching singles who favor plant based diets. Online, people can create profiles on Green Singles, Veggie Date, and Veggie Connection to meet like minded individuals. In the dating app world, Vegly is joined by the likes of Grazer and VegPal.
That's interesting.
The end. Yeah, that is interesting. I never would have thought that vegans would be more non-traditional in their thing.
I didn't expect to be a whole app just for them. That's the thing.
It must be really hard to find people. I mean, let's be honest, they're probably like a small subset of the population. So, would you ever date a vegan woman if you were not
If
married? If you
if
know,
they could handle me eating meat all the time,
they could handle you schlucksing it down.
yes, sir.
By the way, guy, well, for all you Americans out there, well, I don't feel like explaining this. It's a joke that happened long ago on my island. You'll get it if you're from back home. Anyway, I actually dated like several vegans in my life, and I think I even at one point tried to be a vegetarian. I didn't try and be a vegan because I feel like it's too hard to be a vegan because you have to also consider what you wear and other things like even like using honey and all that is like, bro, I don't have time
Yeah.
to do all that. So, but I was vegetarian. I didn't eat any kind of meat except for like chicken, turkey, or fish. Wait, hear me out. 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 First of all, fish is not an animal because it's in the water.
It's not an
Yeah.
animal, bro.
No, 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 no.
You
Listen, listen, listen,
trolling.
listen.
You
They don't have
trolling.
legs.
You trying
They don't
to
have no
you
legs.
trying to be like the other podcasters. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work.
Wait, wait,
You
and
have a
then
master's degree. This is not gonna work.
listen, listen, listen. And
Mm.
then chicken and turkey, right? They're fowl. Fowl and animal, they're separate from animals. You feel me?
Animals
So,
is everything.
wow. So you think clams are animals?
They are. Why wouldn't they be an
You know,
animal?
you know what, guys? The argument's so ridiculous. I can't even stay in character. I'm just gonna have to end it.
My God.
Oh man, that's wild. Man say he's a vegetarian, but he only eat chicken turkey. That's wild. But seriously, I did try and be vegetarian. I think actually when I was vegetarian, I didn't eat any of those things, but I might have slipped up a few times. I ate eggs. That's probably the only thing I actually did eat.
I was vegetarian
I,
for 1 year.
yeah, I remember you lost a lot of weight.
No, that was in high school before I met you.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Yeah. The only reason I lost weight in college was because I was actually exercising every day. I was running
Damn,
every
the
day.
boy was hitting the hitting the calisthenics, boy.
No, no, no. I was just running in circles.
Oh, wait, running in circles like in the house?
I'll go on the basketball court and just run around, do laps. And in my mind, you're always behind me.
Ooh, damn, that's what's up. But guys,
What, guys?
speaking about, huh?
Nothing.
Speaking about, uh, speaking about non-traditional relationships, did you know that bonobos commonly make peace by engaging in feverish orgies in which the males have intercourse with both females and males, and the females engage in intercourse with basically the same thing? Did you know that?
No.
Well, that brings me to our next story.
Wait. I hit you. I read the article quick. Like, what are you talking about?
Orangutans show off
My
their coolness
God.
using slang, study finds. I had to find a transition because this
Dude.
is not this is not on theme. The Guardian reports that researchers call studying orangutan calls have found that they regularly come up with new versions varying in pitch and duration. One second. Uh, okay. Interestingly, whether the new versions catch on is influenced by the density of the local community. Pause. You know what this remind me of?
Yo.
Remember, I don't know if this happened in your high school or Was it high school? No, in junior high.
Okay, let me see
So in
this.
junior high, right? What would happen is if something embarrassing happened to somebody, somebody would be like, "Oh," and they would go
Oh,
to the whole school. Everybody's like, "Oh, oh," and then it would just come all the way full circle back to it.
yep.
That's what that reminded me of.
I remember one morning we were going from chapel to class, and one teacher was trying to rush to class because we had like 15 minutes left of that period. So she tried to run
Yeah.
up the fire escape, and she tripped on the fire escape, and that all lasted for the entire 15 minutes. So she was supposed to teach the class. Like
Nah.
she went to the class, we in the class, and outside is still saying, "Oh,
Damn. Kids are funny. At least back in the day, kids are funny, man.
man, I was the
Everybody
loudest
just saying,
one."
"Oh, damn."
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Dr. Adriano Lamira, author of the research from the Department of Psychology at the University of Warwick, says the way I see it is that low densities of orangutans have slang repertoire that they constantly revisit and use. They're conservative, but once a new call variant is used, everyone hears it, and the variant is quickly incorporated, enriching the slang. In high density communities of orangutans, communication is more like a cacophony. It seems novelty is at a premium, much like in songbirds, and that individuals want to show off their coolness and how much of a rebel they are, he said. Which brings us to the origin of human language. Social influences have been found in songbirds, marmosets, and marmosets, but it had been unclear whether the same was true for non human apes until now. Lamira added that there is a growing evidence that great ape repertoires are composed of consonant and vowel like calls that can be controlled and combined to make syllable like combinations similar to human language. These sounds can even be used to communicate about past events. This new evidence cements a new view that great apes are highly desirable, huh? Oh, and unique model species to improve our understanding of language, origin, and language. Language, origin, and language, said Lamira. The new findings support the theory that human language evolved gradually, with communication among our ape like ancestors also heavily influenced by social factors, which makes sense. Palm oil. Lamira added, the new study also highlighted the importance of conservation. Great apes and their habitat must be preserved if we are to hold any chance of unveiling further pieces of the puzzle of language evolution, he said. Palm oil is the leading cause of extinction for the critically endangered species. More than 6,000 of the great apes die each year. According to the Orangutan Project, nearly 80% of orangutans' habitat has disappeared in the last 2 decades. And now more than 50% of orangutans live in unprotected forests that are managed by palm oil, timber, and mining companies.
That's crazy,
Yeah.
man.
So originally, I was going to transition into this story by talking about animals we don't eat.
Mm,
But then, since we were talking about vegans and their non-traditional relationships, I was like, non-traditional relationships, orangutans, and then I had a memory of like, I was like, don't orangutans be having orgies? And then I looked it up, and it wasn't orangutans, it was bonobos.
it's a hard connection, but I'll give it to you.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you did there. Hard. Never mind. So I be making connections where none exist. I know that, but hey. So what are your thoughts?
Um, I feel like apes are best guide to seeing what we used to look like as humans. 'Cause, like Homo erectus is gone, so it's like they're our best chance of seeing like how we would have developed over time by studying them. Even though I'm pretty sure they come a long way as well.
Was I freezing just now?
Not that I know of.
Oh yeah, you are breaking up a little bit, but I understood what you
My
said.
bad, my bad.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, in general, I feel like we should be a little bit more. And when I say we, I
Yeah,
just mean corporations because I mean we ain't doing nothing. But I think corporations, humans who are managing these larger corporations, should be a little bit more aware of their impact on the environment and try to minimize it. I
yeah.
get it. You need to get this important resource that all humans use, blah blah blah. But can't you like make a farm and do it instead of cutting down already existing forests? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's a very selfish and short-sighted way of going about things that I feel needs to stop.
Like a lot of times is like we gonna cut this forest down and instead of like fostering it back into something that you could like reharvest, it's like onto the next forest and onto the next forest. There's never any like conservation or like use renewable resources and things like that.
Yeah. It's like we haven't learned our lesson. Like we've been on Earth for however long we've been on Earth. We've seen periods in time where pollution was so high that it literally blocked out the sun in certain cities.
Yeah,
And like for example, I think it was China, right? What we talked about in the last week or so,
yeah,
where their air quality has now improved enough that they could see the sky every once in a while,
yeah.
which is crazy. Every once in a while?
It reminds me of in Thailand. You know how they're big on shrimp farming,
Yeah.
but they do exactly what I said that they do. They cultivate one area, they farm it onto the next, onto the next, onto the next. So I'm gonna show you this picture, and that's basically like what happens.
Wow.
So everything here is just like old, and just like move on to the next one. Instead of using for something else, they just leave it and go on.
Wow.
Yeah,
And that's the crazy thing because even like some endangered species, like I think salmon, like
yeah,
wild salmon,
yeah.
is becoming hard to catch because they've overfished. They didn't think about any future consequences. Like,
And even when they know, they don't care.
yeah, it's like you money can't be the only motivation in life. You have to have other things that are important.
And it's like,
What happens?
sorry,
Yeah.
overfishing is, I would say, it's probably not bad because it's like a bunch of fish out there. But what they do is that they just fish for the younger fish so that they never grow up to have more fish. So that's what limits the
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah. I mean, they're starting to do a little bit better now, like with lobster, for example, where like at least they mark the older males. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, these guys are breeders or whatever they call it. And then they mark the females for sure, and the females with eggs rather, and they let them go. So that means they're eating the young technically.
Yeah.
But it's like at least they're allowing them to like reproduce. They kind of have a plan in mind. I don't think it's a great plan, but it's better than no plan.
True, true.
All I know is if aliens ever came to Earth, I hope they're vegan because if they have a hankering for human flesh, is GG's.
What if they decided to like feed us something that would cure us so they can like cut off all the flesh from your forearm, have it grow back, and they'd be like, "This is how you do renewable stuff." So like people just get.
Harvesting? Yo, wait, pause. Before we continue this conversation, are we recording?
Yeah, we've been recording.
Okay, okay.
You asked me 20 minutes later.
Yeah. Have to check. Better late than never, I guess. But yeah, imagine that, like, as a human, just getting your flesh ripped off. You're feeling all the pain, by the way,
Yeah.
because they don't see you as an actual, like, sentient thing. That's the same way how we see other animals.
Yep.
And then they just like, well, he like a tree. We could just give him this little pill. He'll grow back his skin, and then we could do it again.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, we ended on a good note there, guys. If you're vegan, if you're vegan, please tell us, are you into open relationship?
Mm.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah.
And we'll see you on Friday for some stuff from Reddit. Again, we're following a theme. As you remember, we started off with food, we transitioned to veganism, and from veganism, we transitioned
Who
to
knows?
the bonobos, orangutans. What will we transition to next? Stay tuned.
My gosh.
Rabbit Hole Roundtable Talks. We'll see you next
Peace.
time. Peace.